Hi everyone, welcome to Recovery Yoga here at Yoga's Arc. Yoga's Arc always wants you to put your health first, and yoga is an activity that does require physical exertion. So please ensure that you're in good physical shape in order to perform yoga. If you have any sort of pre-existing medical condition or you're just unsure, make sure you consult your physician before starting a yoga regimen. Recovery yoga. I wanted to spend a couple of minutes here just talking about recovery yoga, so that we're all on the same page as to what exactly recovery yoga is. I use recovery yoga in situations where I'm dealing with folks that are in active recovery from some sort of an addiction. Doesn't matter what your addiction is or what the nature of the addiction is. All that matters is that you're in the recovery process. Yoga has been found to be very beneficial in the recovery process. Yoga is not the end-all to be-all in that recovery process, but it definitely is an effective tool to have in the toolbox in your recovery process. So adding in yoga can definitely be super beneficial to those that are currently recovering. The yoga part of the yoga for recovery is no different than any sort of class that you would get out in the community. The yoga can be the same. All disciplines of yoga can be applied. You can have yin recovery, you could have vinyasa recovery, you could have Bikram recovery. Whatever your yoga style of choice is, you can always apply the recovery concepts into every type of yoga. The recovery part comes from the teacher really selecting poses that assist us in detoxing our bodies, as well as some languaging to help you start to feel again. When we're in active addiction, we're numbing, and typically we're numbing all the bad things that nobody wants to feel, the fear, the trauma, the hurt, the anger. We're numbing all that because we don't want to feel it, which is completely understandable. But unfortunately, it leads us down these paths to addiction that can be highly destructive. The problem with numbing as well, all the bad things, is you numb all the good things at the same time. So we're numbing all the joy and the happiness that we could possibly be feeling. So that leaves us in a big conundrum. When we're in our active addiction, we're not really feeling anything at all. So as we're coming into our recovery process, part of what I like to do is just to really allow you the time and the space to start to feel your body, to give you time to be able to feel both the good things and maybe the bad things, things that maybe don't feel that great in your body, so that you can really start to practice with your mind and your body that it's okay to feel things that are a little uncomfortable. We just need to develop effective tools to really work through those things. So as we go through class, I'll talk through some of the different things that we do and how they're beneficial for our recovery process. So I hope you'll enjoy. Let's find ourselves on our mat. Now, if you don't have a mat, that's fine. You can always just find yourself on a living room floor, just a nice comfortable space where you'd have some space around you to move a little bit. So what I'd like you to do first is to come down onto your backs. Now, I do have two mats here. That's just more for demonstration purposes. One mat is all you need, and just as long as you can see or hear me, you'll be golden. So let's go ahead and come onto our backs. Your knees can be up or your knees can be straight out. I want you to be comfortable in your own body, so take the position that feels the best for you. And using your fingertips, I want you to bring the fingertips right up on your rib cage. Not just at the very lower end, but right underneath the armpit here, so you really have a good connection to the rib cage. And I want you to start to breathe in through the nose and then out through the nose. And I want you to breathe deep enough that you're starting to feel the rib cage moving out and then moving in. And I want you to take attention to that rib cage moving. One thing about our breath is it is a very automatic function in our body, but it is a function that we can control with our mind. There's not any other organs in our body that we can actually control with our mind. They all just automatically do what they need to do. But our lungs are the one internal organ that we can control. And if we can harness that control, we can really do some good in our body with our breath. So keep breathing nice and big here, feeling the rib cage moving in and out. We like to focus on our breath in recovery yoga because as we take deeper breaths, we're pulling in bigger amounts of oxygen into our lungs. That amount of oxygen allows our lungs to start to clear. If we've been smoking a lot or putting toxins into our lungs, we definitely want to help alleviate that and get rid of those toxins. So the more oxygen we can pull into our lungs, the more all those toxins will come out of our lungs. Not only does this work in our lungs, but it also works in our internal organs. So the more oxygen we can pull in, the more oxygen there is to take away the toxins throughout our body. So starting first with our breath, it also helps to calm our body, calm our minds. You can keep the eyes open or the eyes closed. Just see if you can make the rib cage a little bit bigger. Pull the air in through the nose, maybe a little slower and a little bit deeper, but really feel the rib cage expanding out, and then feel the rib cage contracting in. Let's take one more big deep breath here. So a big inhale in. Exhale. We're going to take our arms up overhead, and I just want you to roll onto your left side. You can keep the arms extended, or one of the arms extended, so that your head can just rest down on that bicep here of the left arm. And then I want you to take the right arm, and I want you to put it once again here on the rib cage. So your knees don't need to be bent up too far, but just enough to kind of keep you steady here on the ground. And I want you to start the big breathing again. Feeling the rib cage coming up towards the ceiling and then back down. Feeling the breath. Maybe even feeling it in the back. Our rib cage goes all the way around. It's not just here in the front and in the chest. We're also breathing through our back, so our rib cage is pushing out towards the back of your mat. So even thinking as you're taking in that big deep breath, you can feel the rib cage expanding in all different directions. Another benefit of big deep breathing is we're also lubricating all these little areas right in between our rib cage. All of our intercostal muscles. We're just starting to warm up our body so that when we do move, everything is nice and lubricated. Let's take one more big deep breath. And let it go. Now we're going to switch to the other side. Can you just roll on your back and then roll the opposite direction? I'm going to just flip around here so you can still see me. So on the right side this time, rest the head on the forearm or on your bicep here of your arm. Fingertips right high on the rib cage. So not low here down by your hip, but real high up by your chest. Now let's feel the rib cage here on the left side. Start to notice how your body is feeling. Do you notice any difference from the right side to the left side? We don't apply judgments, we're just noticing. We're being curious about how our body feels. And take our attention to that. Take two more big deep breaths. And let that go. Hand releases. Let's roll back onto our backs and let's plant our feet. We're going to start to move here. Our hip area is one that when we have trauma in our lives, which is often paired a lot with addiction. Usually addiction comes about from some sort of trauma, so focusing on trauma is not unheard of, certainly when we're in an active addiction process. So holding a lot of our tension, we do so right here in our hips and in our low back. So let's start to warm up that area here so we can loosen up. So we're going to do some windshield wipes, and I just want you to drop your knees nice and wide. Now your feet are about hip width apart, or they can be mat width apart. So maybe try both ways, putting them in a little closer and letting the knees drop from side to side, or take the feet out a little bit wider. If you have a little bit more play in your hips, maybe your feet go wider. If you're feeling really tight, maybe you keep your feet in a little closer. And just starting to sway from side to side. You can have a little play in your hips where as you roll to one side, that opposite hip comes off the mat here, you can see, or keeping it a little tighter. Just start to feel the body, start to feel the hips moving from side to side. The next time your knees are to the right, let them stay to the right. You can stay here if you want a little more, if you have a little bit more play down your left side. Maybe you take your right ankle on top of the left knee and just let gravity pull that left knee down. I want you to get curious about what you're feeling in your body. Where do you feel the stretch? Is it in the front side? Is it in the back side? Maybe it comes up towards your chest. Maybe it goes down towards your knee. I know where I feel it, but I want you to sit and think about where you feel it. Let's release the right leg. Bring the knees back to center. Windshield wipe a couple of times here, just moving maybe a little quicker. The next time your knees are to the left, let them hang out there. It's perfectly fine to just stay with the knees to the left. If you feel like you have a little bit more stretch that you can get, bring the left ankle on top of the right knee and just let gravity pull the legs down towards your mat. Be curious here on this side. What do you feel in your body? How does this side differ from the other side? We have two halves to our body. A lot of times we think our bodies are symmetrical on both sides, and they're completely not. There's a whole lot of asymmetry from each side, from right to left. So just become curious about maybe one side being tighter or looser than the other. And let's come back to center. Release the legs, plant the feet. This time, keep your heels just right below your seat so your feet are about hip width apart and your hands are down along your side. On an inhale, we're going to take a big breath in and we're going to push into our feet and we're going to push our hips up to the sky and we're going to raise our arms up overhead. And then on the exhale, we're going to slowly lower down. See if you can go as slow as you can. So inhale. Peel the tailbone up, peel the lower vertebrae up towards your scapula, and then come all the way down. Slowly lowering. Trying to articulate the spine, so as we're inhaling up, we tuck the tailbone a little bit, we peel the tailbone up, goes lower spine, then middle spine, and then just up to the shoulder blades, and then exhale, shoulder blades down, middle of the spine, low back, hips. Let's do one more here. Inhale, peel up, exhale. Feel the breath in the body. Let's roll on to our right sides and let's slowly push ourselves up. Let's come up into a seated position. And what I'd like you to do is sit with your legs off to your right side. So both knees, just kind of like your side saddle or side sitting on a horse, both legs to one side here, and let's bring the left arm down and bring the right arm up behind the head. So we're going to do a little bit more motion here with our breath. So we're going to crunch down and then we're going to come up is going to be our motion, but we're going to match our breath. So on an inhale, we're going to bring the elbow up towards the ceiling, and then on the exhale, we're going to crunch down through the right side. So inhale all the way up. Exhale down. And I'd like you to just keep moving and I want you to just notice your breath. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale. Let's switch sides. Bring the legs over towards the left. Right arm down. Left arm up behind the head. Just cradle the back of the head. Doesn't need to be any sort of specific motion there. Inhale, we're going to bring the elbow up towards the ceiling. Exhale, we're going to crunch on this side. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Do a few more here on your own. Let's do 3. Release. Let's come to a seated position with our legs crossed right in front of us. Place your hands on your knees, and I just want you to start to rock from side to side. You have your big sit bones that sit right underneath your hips here, and I just want you to start to feel those bony landmarks as you move from side to side. Now, I'd like you to take some big circles. So now we're going to roll to the right side, come all the way forward onto that left side, and then come all the way around, just like we're making a big circle here. Still want you to feel the sit bones as you move from one side to the other. We're just adding a little bit more motion here. Let's stop and go in the opposite direction. So one thing about yoga, whatever we do on one side, we do on the other, and we go in all directions. Let's come back to center. Let's take a moment just to close the eyes as our hands are on our knees. And I want you to take an inhale in, and I just want you to raise your hands up off the knees just a little bit, and then exhale back down. Inhale, we raise the hands up, exhale down. We close our eyes just so that we can become more familiar within our body, take ourselves inward. When our eyes are open, we have all the stimulus from our surroundings around us that can distract us. So if it's comfortable for you in your body and feels nice and safe, then just close the eyes. Take the inhale in, lift the hands, and then exhale back down. Inhale in, exhale down. Let's do one more. Now let's open the eyes. Let's come forward onto our hands, and let's come into a tabletop position. So we're going to be on all fours here. I'll show you from the side, actually from the front here. So our hands are just below our shoulders, and I want your fingers nice and wide here. Our knees are about hip width apart, so we're not super tight here. We've got a little bit of space here so that we can move from side to side, and that's exactly what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to put a little weight over into the left side, and then into your right side, left side, right side. Look down at your mat, and take a moment just to notice the properties of your mat. Is there some sort of texture on the mat? How does the mat feel? Is it hot? Is it cold? And as you move from side to side, just noticing any differences from each side. Take attention to your fingertips. Do you feel some pressure in your fingertips as much as you feel in the base of your wrist? And if you feel like you're more in your wrists and you don't feel much in your fingertips, or you're all fingertips and nothing in your wrists, see if you can find a happy medium where you're feeling some pressure in the wrist as well as some pressure in the tips of the fingers. Now what I'd like you to do is start to rotate your fingertips out towards the side of your mat. Maybe it's just a little bit and keep rocking from side to side. Maybe you can get the fingertips to point all the way to the side. Stretching a little bit here in the forearms. Take notice to what you feel. If that feels good, maybe you continue rotating the fingertips back towards your knees. Maybe you can get all the way around. Maybe you don't get quite all the way there. There's no judgment here. This is a practice, not a perfect, so whatever you can do today is exactly what you were meant to do. Now let's rock forward and back if your fingers are pointing towards your knees. No matter where they're at, just getting a little bit of a rock. bring the fingertips back around towards the front of the mat. Let's start with some movement here. So we're going to start with some cat-cow. So I'm going to show you from the side. So your hands and your knees are in the same position. And what I'd like you to do is keep your head nice and still, but I'd like you to take an inhale in and drop your belly down. Exhale, round your low back. Inhale, drop your belly down. Exhale, inhale through the low back, pressing up towards the ceiling. So you should feel a nice stretch in your lower belly as you're inhaling. As we exhale, we feel a nice stretch down our low back. If this feels good and you'd like to start to incorporate in your head, you can do that as well. It just deepens the posture. So on an inhale, drop your belly down and take your eye gaze up. Exhale. We round the small of the back and we let the top of the head drop towards your mat. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do one more. We'll come back to a neutral spine. And neutral spine is something in between. So we're not all the way down and we're not all the way up. We have just a nice flat back, just like a tabletop. Here is our neutral position. What I'd like you to do is bring your left hand more towards the center of the mat and bring your right arm just straight out beside us. Feel the left arm pushing into the mat. Feel that first. If you feel a little bit of shaking, that's perfectly fine. That just means our body is changing. Our body is releasing any tension that it has. Take an inhale in, and then on the exhale, lower the right arm. Now we're going to switch to the other side. So our right arm is going to come towards the center of the mat. And our left arm is going to extend straight out. Really push into the right hand. I want you to take notice. Almost like you're pushing about a foot below your mat here. You should really feel engaged in that right shoulder. Take an inhale in, and on the exhale, come back down. Now, from here, with our hands back underneath our shoulders, let's extend the left leg straight back. Point the toes down towards the ground, and I just want you to hold. This may be enough for you. If this feels nice and sturdy for you, maybe you start to take the right arm towards the front of the room, lifting that up. So you're really having to balance on the left arm and the right knee. Took the arm forward, bring it back down, left knee down. Let's move to the other side. So extend the right leg, nice and straight, toes pointing down. If this is enough for you, you're really feeling this in your body, stay here. If you want a little more, left arm starts to come forward, push down through the right hand, really feel the fingertips working here, keeping you nice and steady. Release, bring that down. From our tabletop position, let's just tuck our toes, but I want you to push the right heel back towards the back of your mat. So we're getting a nice calf stretch here. A lot of times as we're in recovery, we'll feel a lot of muscle aches, maybe some cramping. So doing some calf stretches, maybe even some pumps where you come forward on the toes and then push the heel down can feel tremendously good in our lower body. We'll talk a little bit more a little later in class about some stretches that we can do for things like restless leg syndrome. It's very common with opioid use, or our legs are shaking, so if we can get some stretches in our legs, it can help alleviate a lot of those types of symptoms. Bring the right leg back. Let's extend that left leg back, tuck the toes, push the heel down. The heel doesn't need to touch. You can see my heel, it's not even close to the ground. That's fine. I just push down enough that I feel a nice stretch up the back side of my leg. Maybe I rock forward on my toes here, and then rock back, forward, and back. bring the left leg back down towards the mat. I want you to tuck your toes, and we're going to come into a down dog or an upside down V. So our hands are going to stay exactly where they were, fingertips still nice and wide, but we're going to push our knees up off the mat just a little bit. Maybe we hover, and then slowly start to come into that upside down V, pushing the heels down, straightening the legs. Now the legs don't need to be straight. You can have your knees bent a little bit. Take a feel for how your body is feeling and decide how you want to be today. I'd like you to pedal out your dog. So we're going to just move the heels right and left, pushing down, bending the opposite knee, and then switching sides. This is a little deeper calf stretch down the back side of the body, similar to what we were just doing on our knees. Bring both feet back to the center, push the heels down, take your eye gaze up between the hands, and I just want you to come up on your tippy toes and then just start to walk yourself forward towards the front of the mat, and then forward fold. Now with our forward fold, your hands do not need to touch. If you're here, great. If you can come a little bit deeper, nice. Maybe you grab opposite elbows if that helps you. You can even bring your feet a little bit further apart. I just want you to forward fold. You can bend the knees a little bit. The knees do not need to be locked out. You can have the knees a little bent here. This is a wonderful stretch for the low back and down the back of your legs. This can help alleviate a lot of the pain that we have in recovery. As all the toxins are leaving our body, all the numbing that we've done, we can experience pain that maybe we didn't know what was there. And this is an excellent way to just stretch all that out. If you grab opposite elbows, bring the fingertips down towards the mat, and slowly to bend the knees and slowly rise. So inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, bring the hands to your side. Inhale, arms come up. We're going to move a little bit here. Exhale, forward fold. Nice big arms out to the side. Bring the fingertips down towards the mat. Let the back of the head go. Inhale, flatten out the back. Bring the hands to the shins here so you can see me from the side. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, slowly rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Moving with the breath here. Inhale, arms all the way up. Exhale, nice wide arms, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, fingertips on the shins, nice flat back, head forward. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Arms out nice and wide, coming all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, all the way up. Last one here. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Just bring the hands down to the side. I'd like you to just take a moment here and close your eyes. I want you to feel your feet. Maybe you rock from one side to the other. Feel your knees. Feel the hips. Feel your shoulders. Maybe you can let the tips of your shoulders come a little further away from your ears, really relaxing. Tuck your chin and just feel your spine in complete alignment from the top of your head all the way down to the base of your spine, into your tailbone. Let's take one more inhale in. Open up your mouth and sigh it out. Flicker open your eyes. Let's bring the hands to heart center. We're going to come into warrior two. So what I'd like you to do is just take a step back with the right foot. So we're going to step back. I'm going to come to the side here so you can see. So as we take the step back, this back leg is going to be at about 45 degrees or so, or maybe the toes are even just pointing towards this long side of your mat. See what feels good in your hips today. We're going to bend the front knee, so put a little bit more weight up into that front leg, and I'd like you to bring your hands to your hips. Now you may be pointing all the way to the side, looking to the side. As you can see here, the front of my mat is there, but I'm looking to the side. And so what I'd like you to do is start to take the fingertips and see if you can bring your hips around towards the front of your mat. You can see here my hips don't go all the way towards the front of my mat. My anatomy is such that I just don't get all the way around, so I'm not that open, and that's fine. I go with where is comfortable for me. Bend a little deeper into that front leg. I'd like you to reclose the eyes and just start to feel what you feel. Nice long inhales in through the nose and out through the nose. Bend a little deeper into that front knee. Push a little harder into the back foot that's behind you. Take one more breath. Open the eyes. Let's bring the arms straight out in front of us, keeping our hips exactly where they're at. And then let's exhale into warrior two. So we're going to keep the lower half exactly as we were, but we're going to extend our arms out. So right arm towards the back, left arm towards the front. Really stretch here. Close the eyes once again. We're feeling today. So I want you to feel the front knee right over the front of your ankle. Maybe make some adjustments there. I want you to feel like your head is sitting right on top of your hips. We're not coming forward at all, but we're sitting nice and back here. Our shoulder blades are nice and tight. We're squeezing them together. Maybe the lower part of our belly is tucked a little bit, the tailbone. As we tuck, we can feel the middle part of our belly starting to engage there, holding us nice and firm. And then feel the fingertips stretching towards the front of your mat and the back of your mat. Open up your eyes. It's tick-tock, so bring that back arm down, front arm up towards the ceiling, and just feel the stretch up the front side of the body. Let's come back through warrior two. We're going to tick-tock forward. So that front elbow is going to come down on top of your knee. Back arm is going to come up towards the ceiling. If you feel like you have a little more, maybe that top arm comes all the way forward towards the front of the mat. Take your eye gaze with it. Bring that top arm back up. Push into your feet, so really feel your feet and come all the way up. Tick-tock up. And let's step forward towards the front of the mat. Bring the arms down to the side. Close your eyes. I just want you to feel what you feel here as we work on the one side. Do you feel any differences from one side of the body to the other side of your body? Take one more inhale in. Exhale. Flicker open the eyes, bring the hands back to heart center. Let's take a step back with that opposite side. So for me, that right leg is going to stay forward and the left leg is going to come back. See how this side feels? Maybe the foot is about 45 degrees in the back. This front leg, the toes are pointing straight towards the front of your mat. Start to bend into the front knee. Bring your hands right to your hips and let's start to rotate towards the front of the mat. Close your eyes. Feel the front knee over the front of the ankle. That back leg is nice and strong here. The full foot is on the ground. Starting to twist your hip points, those little points right in the front of your hips towards the front of the mat. Let's open the eyes and bring the arms up. Maybe take the eye gaze up with it, sink a little deeper into the front knee. Exhale. Warrior two, so arms are extending. Right arm towards the front, left arm towards the back. Close the eyes, let's feel this side. Your front right knee over your front right ankle. Tucking your pelvis a little bit so that tailbone is rocking towards the front side of your body. Your head is sitting right over the top of your hips. Right fingertips towards the front of your mat, left fingertips towards the back. Sink a little deeper into that front knee. Let's open the eyes. Let's reverse the warrior here. So your left arm comes down, that back arm towards the back of your leg, right arm up. Take notice to what you feel in the front side of your body. My legs are shaking a little bit. That's perfectly fine. We're really working here. Come back through warrior two. Tick-tock the arms down, so right elbow to the right knee, left arm is up. If you have a little more space in that left side, maybe the left arm comes towards the front of your mat. Eye gaze goes with it. Left arm comes back up. Really push through the feet here. Bring the hands back to heart center. Step forward to the front of your mat. Release the arms down. Take a nice big inhale in and exhale. Let's work on a little bit of balance here. So, planting down through the right leg, let's bring the left leg forward, just up on the toes. So we're keeping the toes down on the ground, and you're bending that heel up off the mat. If you want to bring your hands to heart center, you can, or if you feel more comfortable keeping the arms down, arm position is fine either way. We're more concerned about balance. Now on this right side, I want you to tighten this right glute. This muscle back here, tighten it nice and tight. Then, if you have the space, maybe you start to float the toes up off the mat. Keep that tightness in the right glute. Feel the right foot pushing down below your mat. Maybe the left thigh comes up a little bit higher. We're holding it here. Working on balance. What do you feel? See if you can pull your torso forward. We don't want to be leaning all the way back, but kind of engaging here to keep the chest right up over the top of the hips. And let's release. Bring the toes back down, heel back down, relax. Let me shake out the legs just a little bit. Let's move to the other side. So right toes come forward. If this is enough for you, maybe you just play with bringing the toes off. If your balance isn't that great, this is where we work. It's practice, practicing these things. If you can bring the thigh up a little bit higher, we do so. Holding it here. Release. Leg comes back down. Let's release. Let's shake it out just a little bit. Now we're going to come back into a warrior two. So we're going to step back with our right leg here. Bend into the front knee. We've done this before. We extend our arms out. Warrior two. Now we're going to do a little exercise here of letting go. We're warriors, and usually warriors have a bow and an arrow to shoot their prey. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to do this motion here where we're pulling back through the bow, pulling that arrow back, and then letting it go. But I want you to think about one thing that you want to let go that is no longer serving you. And each time you pull it back, I want you to state what it is. And then as you let go of what you need to. So pull it back, let it go. Let's do it 2 more times. Pull it back, tell yourself you're letting it go. One final. Release. Take a step forward towards the front of your mat. Close your eyes. And just take a moment to ponder that which no longer serves you. It has no purpose in your life anymore. Do not let it back in. It is now gone. Open the eyes, hands back down. Let's come into the other side. So let's take a step back now with our left foot. About 45 degrees, bending into that front leg. Arms are extended, warrior two. One more thing, we all have so many things that we can let go of, so let's pick one more here, big or small. Finding the arrow, pulling back, letting it go. Pull back, let it go. Sweep that arm back around so you're getting some motion in your shoulder here, then pull it back, let it go. Pull it back, let it go. One final. Bring the hands back to heart center, step forward to the front of the mat. Close your eyes. Ponder once again what you have let go today. Self-talk is so important. Speaking to yourself. The more you tell yourself what you're letting go of, the less likely it will come back into your life. Take a big inhale in, open up the mouth, and sigh it out. Flicker open the eyes, bring the arms down to the side. We're going to slowly start to just bend down into a nice deep squat here. Go down to whatever level is comfortable for you, and want you to see if you can give yourself a big hug around the knees. This feels great to release your low back. Also, the more love we can give ourselves, the better off we'll be. We have to start with loving ourselves before we can give love to others. So this is your time to focus solely on you. Be selfish in that. Make yourself what you need to be. Let's bring the hands back down to the mat. Let's come to find a seated position. Legs are forward. And we're going to come into a forward fold. So I'll show you from the side here. Point the toes back up towards the nose. And maybe just start to come forward a little bit. If you can feel something in the back, like I literally right here, I feel this in my hamstrings, this big muscle on the back side of your leg. I really don't need to go any further. Now if you feel a little bit more, maybe you bring your hands towards your shins, maybe you can bring your hands towards your toes, and just let the back of your legs relax. Forward folds are great for restless leg syndrome, so if that's something you're suffering with in your recovery process, make sure that you're doing as many forward folds throughout the day as you can. Take your attention back to that rib cage. Is it expanding out, contracting back in? The deeper we breathe, the more we can release. Let's let that go. We're going to bring our feet together, soles of the feet together, knees are butterflied out. I want you to grab your toes, and I just want you to start to pull your chest forward. It's another great release for the low back, as well as the inner thighs. Release, let's come onto our backs. As we roll down, just pull your right knee up into your chest, Interlace your fingers all the way down to the webbing and place it on the front of the shin. And really pull the knee in tight up into the chest. Wind relieving pose is great for detoxifying the body. Here on this right side, we have our intestines, our ascending colon, we have the liver, we have the gallbladder. All organs are essential for detoxifying our bodies. As we can compress here, we're pushing blood into that system and we're squishing all the toxins out into our bloodstream here. And if we get a nice big belly breath up against the thigh and then an exhale, we pull the knee in a little deeper, we get a massage of that area, assisting further with detoxifying those organs. Take a moment here on the right side to really think about the liver and how hard it works for us every day. Starting to appreciate our organs. Let's release. Let's bring up the left side. Pull the left knee up into the shoulder. On the left side, we don't have as many organs, but we definitely have our descending colon on this side. Stomach sits on this side as well. Getting that nice tight compression, the big belly breath up against the thigh. And then exhale, pulling the knee in a little deeper. Now you should really feel a pinching sensation in your hip. You're really pulling in tight here. Even your biceps are working. You start to feel a little bit of warmth in your upper body here. We're pulling in super tight. Release. Let's plant our feet and bring the right leg up and over the left thigh and start to push the knee away. See if you can relax all the muscles around the hip here. Go from pushing the knee away and slowly allow your body to twist over towards the left side. So keeping that figure 4 position, let the foot come down, extend your arms out into a nice wide T, and take your eye gaze out over the top of your right fingertips. Twists. Twists are another excellent posture for recovery, for detoxifying our bodies. If you think about wringing out a rag, it's the same sort of concept. Physically, we're wringing out our spine here. We're pushing the toxins that sit in our low back that give us the inflammation, that give us pain. We're also wringing out, once again, all the organs that sit nice and low right along our belly button there. So any sort of twists are excellent as well. Slowly release, come back to center. Release the legs and let's switch sides. So left leg up, left ankle on top of the right thigh. Push the left knee away. See if you can relax all the muscles. I tend to tighten up my glutes, those big muscles in our seat. See if you can relax so that the knee can really open up here. Now just let your body twist to the right, bringing that left foot down, keeping that figure 4 position, arms back into the T, eye gaze out over the top of the left fingertips. Come back to center, release the legs. Bring both knees up into the chest for one final squeeze, one final hug, one final love for yourself. And Now let's extend the legs long down the mat. You can widen your feet a little bit. Maybe your arms are about 45 degrees away from your body, looking more like a star. If it's comfortable, close your eyes. If it's uncomfortable, keep the eyes open. And just relax here. Bring the attention back to your breath. Inhale, I am calm. Exhale, I am calm. Inhale, I am whole. Exhale, I am whole. Inhale, I heal my body. Exhale, I heal my body. Inhale, I heal my mind. Exhale, I heal my mind. I want you to stay here as long as it's comfortable for you to stay. If you're ready to end your class, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Extend your arms up overhead, stretching towards the back of your mat, toes pointing towards the front of your mat. Slowly roll over to your right side. Push yourself up into a seated position. Let's bring our hands to heart center. Taking a moment to honor ourselves for spending the last 50 minutes or so focusing entirely on our healing. So key to take that time each and every single day. Closing the eyes, bowing the head. It's been my honor and pleasure to lead you today. May the higher good in me honor the higher good in you. Namaste. Thank you.